Hello, welcome to our assembly for today. It's Thursday. I hope you had a lovely first day back yesterday. It was so nice to see everybody's faces when you came into school in the morning. And I think there were a few people who came into school a little bit going, "Hmm, hmm, hmm." And I spoke to a couple of people who stood there on the playground going, I'm tired, I've had lots of late nights. And then when I saw you in class and by playtime and by lunchtime, people were running around happy, smiley, because actually it's really good to be here. It's a really lovely school. It's a fab place to be. So I am really glad you're all back, and it's lovely to have all of you back in school. So what are we going to do in our assembly today? Well, yesterday we talked about our new mission statements, that really important thing that tells us all of those things that we believe in at Wincham. So let's have a look at what that was. Let's see if we can remind ourselves. Okay, here we go. There we go. We all aim to be responsible, local, national and global citizens. Together we learn, grow and dream. Now, yesterday you had a story, because I love telling stories, about a really cool guy who found school really difficult, but then he learned loads of interesting stuff about maths and physics. Can you remember who that was? Put your hand up and tell your teacher. That's right, it was Isaac. Sorry, not Isaac Newton. I'm completely muddled. Not Isaac Newton, it was Albert Einstein. I think I got the I sound in Ein and Isaac mixed up. Albert Einstein. Now, Albert Einstein was really cool because he grew as a person, and he didn't just stick at one thing. He talked about human rights, the things that we think about as global goals, as reduced inequalities now. Albert Einstein was thinking about them a long time ago, back in the 60s, which is really good. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to read you a story, again, just because I really like reading stories. And I am going to share my story with you because I just think it's really nice, and it talks about somebody who learned, grew, and dreamt. And that's the important thing, that they learned, grew, and dreamt. And I'm just skipping back through the pages. There we go. The Most Magnificent Thing by Ashley Spires. So when I read, I'm not going to stop to ask questions. I'm not going to stop to explain things at all through this. But see if you can think, where did this person learn? How did they grow? How did they dream? See if you can spot in the story where those different things come. Okay? Right, here we go. And just enjoy the story and enjoy the pictures, because they're really cool. The Most Magnificent Thing. This is a regular girl and her best friend in the whole wide world. They do all kinds of things together. They race, they eat, they explore, they relax. She makes things. He unmakes things. And one day, the girl has a wonderful idea. She is going to make the most magnificent thing. It's a good word, magnificent. She knows just how it will look. She knows just how it will work. All she has to do is make it. And she makes things all the time. Easy peasy. First, she hires an assistant. Well, that's the dog. Next, they gather their supplies. They set up somewhere out of the way and get to work. Not quite sure the pavement is out of the way. The girl tinkers and hammers and measures, while her assistant pounces and growls and chews. When she's finished, she steps back to admire her work. She walks around one side. Her assistant examines from the other side. It doesn't look right. Her assistant picks it up and gives it a shake. It doesn't feel right either. They're shocked to discover the thing isn't magnificent or good. It isn't even sort of okay. It is all wrong. The girl tosses it aside and gives it another go. She smooths and wrenches and fiddles. Her assistant circles and tugs and wags. And when she's finished, she stands up and takes a long look at it. Her assistant gives it a nudge with his paw The thing is still wrong. She decides to try again. The girl saws and glues and adjusts. She stands and examines and stares. She twists and tweaks and fastens. She fixes and straightens and studies. She tries all different ways to make it better. She makes it square. She makes it round. She gives it legs. She gives it she adds antennae. She makes it fuzzy. She makes it long, short, rough, smooth, big, small. One even smells of stinky cheese, but none of them are magnificent. Her hard work attracts a few admirers, but they don't understand. They can't see the magnificent thing that she's got in her mind. She gets mad. The angrier she gets, the faster she works. She smashes pieces into shapes. She jams parts together. She pummels the little bits in. Her hands feel too big to work and her brain is too full of all the not right things. If only the thing would just work. Crunch. The pain starts in her finger. It rushes up to her brain and she explodes. It is not her finest moment. I'm no good at this. I quit. Her assistant suggests a walk. It's not much help at first, but before long she starts to feel different. Bit by bit, the mad gets pushed out of her head. And as they stroll along, she comes across the first wrong thing that she made. The bad feelings are about to start all over again. Then she notices something surprising. There are some parts of the wrong things that are really quite right. The bolts on one, the shape of another, the wheel to seat ratio of the next. There are all sorts of parts that she likes. By the time she reaches the end of the trail, she finally knows how to make the magnificent thing. She gets to work. She works carefully and slowly, tinkering, hammering, twisting, fiddling, gluing, painting. Her assistant makes sure there are no distractions. This one's all wet. This will stop that leak. This is the perfect thing to ward off bears. The afternoon fades into evening. Finally, she finishes. She alerts her assistant. The pair take a good long look. It leans a little to the left. It's a bit heavier than expected. The colour could use a bit of work too, but it's just what she wanted. They climb aboard and take it for a spin. They are not disappointed. It really is the most magnificent thing. What a good book. I love that one. It's just such a cool story. Right. There were 3 things that I asked you to think of during that story. What were they? Put your hand up and tell your teacher. Okay. Pause the video if you need to. And I think they were... Oh, can you remember? No. Totally forgotten. Totally forgotten. Let's see if I can remind everybody. Let's see. Was it those things? Learn, grow, and dream. So, has anybody got any ideas when the girl in the story was learning things? Okay, share your ideas. Now, I think she was learning things in the story where she learned about all those different bits that she'd made, all those models that didn't quite work. She learned about the parts of one, the wheel to seat ratio of the next. So she learned about that. But I think there was learning that went on before the story. I think there was learning that went on for her to know how to make all of those things, to do all of those things. She must have done lots of model making beforehand. In fact, the story says she did. So she'd done lots of model making. She'd done lots of learning in order to be able to use those skills. So she'd learned how to hammer. She'd learned how to saw. She learned how to paint. It wasn't the first time that she'd done all of those things. So there was lots of learning right throughout the story. Now, when did she grow as a person? Not getting taller, But when did she grow as a person? Again, share your ideas. Pause the video if you need to. I think it was when she got mad. I don't know about you. Put your hands up if you agreed with me. I think it was when she got mad, because she realized that actually getting mad wasn't going to help, and that if she slowed down and thought about it, it wasn't that she couldn't make the model, she just couldn't make it yet. And she just needed to keep at it and to keep with that resilience, and that's what made her grow as a person. Sometimes in school, you get things to do that your teachers think that's going to be a real puzzler for them. That's going to be really hard. And you can either sit there and go, I can't do this, it's all rubbish. Or you can go, do you know what? I like a challenge. We like hard work at Wincham. We like getting better at things because it's how we grow. And it's how we become more positive and more resilient when something is difficult. So growing is a really good thing. What about dreaming? Learn, grow, dream. How did she dream in this one? It's not about going to sleep and having a dream. It's about thinking about a new idea. And actually, all the way through that story, there was this dream of what she wanted to make. It was going to be something magnificent. That's right. Well done. Something magnificent. And she dreamt of, let's see if we can see that picture right at the end. Here we go. This is what she dreamt of, a scooter with a sidecar for the dog. So she dreamt of making that sidecar for the dog with her scooter. Okay. So right the way through, she got this idea. She's got this vision in her head. She got a problem that she wanted to solve. Just like Einstein, who found all of these things around the world that he wanted to think about. There's a problem that she wanted to solve. And the problem was, how do I get my dog with me on the scooter? And that's the dream. And then she used all of her learning, she used her growth to think about how she was going to solve that problem. Clever, clever person. Right. There you go, guys. A lovely, lovely story. Have a fab rest of the day. I'll see you around school. Bye-bye.